In the last lecture of this section, I'll be talking about the importance of impromptu speaking and how this is going to help you become a more confident speaker. So let's face it, you are going to be engaged in some type of presentation every single day, regardless of where you are. You might be in the hallway and your manager asks you a question that you might not be prepared to answer. And that is a bit of a presentation. Or you might be at a function, seated as an audience member, and someone comes up to you and says, "Hey, would you like to speak on behalf of so-and-so?" You might not be prepared, but again, the opportunity arises. So what do? First, let's just give you some advice on how to approach impromptu speaking. The first rule is don't panic. This is an opportunity. Just as a formal presentation is as an opportunity, so is the ability to speak impromptu. Number 2, buy some time. So say you are that audience member in a formal event and you never expected to speak. Just buy some time and say to them, "When do you want me to speak?" If they say right now, just say to them, "Could you give me 15 minutes just to put my thoughts together?" And buy some time at least to structure a something. Number 3, know your timing. For an impromptu, it's still a bit of a time slot. So ask them, how long is my slot? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 10 minutes? Is it 3 minutes? And whatever that timing is, make sure that you speak within that time zone. As you know, you don't want to be that speaker that someone keeps looking at their watch and wondering when it is that you're going to be finishing. And finally, as advice, you need to still have an opening, a body, and conclusion. So some of the earlier techniques of how to start off in an engaging way, like with a quote or a comparison or an activity, you can still include this in your impromptu talk. And if you can buy yourself some time, it helps you start off and end in an engaging way. Let's now look at 4 simple techniques that you can adopt to help you with your impromptu speech. The first tip is to express an opinion. Someone has asked you to speak, so express your opinion on the topic. So say I have a topic of New Year resolutions. What is your opinion on this? By having an opening, body, and conclusion, just merely expressing your opinion helps you get through that impromptu. The second tip is known as the rule of 3. What are the top 3 messages within your presentation? And as long as it is within that timing, you should be okay. The third tip is to use a simple structure of who, what, where, when, why, how. So as an example, if I asked you to speak about a book that shaped your life, answer the questions by what book, how did it shape your life, when did you read this, where did this take place? And by following that simple structure, you're able to complete a bit of a mini presentation. And the 4th tip is to draw on your experience. So say if I asked you to speak on the topic of failure, I want you to think back on your own life and think of a moment in time when you experienced failure. What did you learn? How did this help you shape your life? You can even incorporate the storytelling mode that I helped you with in an earlier section of this course. And by bringing in a story structure, you end up with a speech that has an opening, a body, and conclusion. And there you have it. These are my tips to help you bring in impromptu speaking at any time that you are asked for it. As an activity to this lecture, I've included a list of topics, and what I'd like you to do is to try to deliver a speech based on these topics and see if you can deliver a speech of at least between 1 to 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes max. And if you're able to deliver a speech and hold that content by using any of those 4 tips, you are actually getting much better at impromptu speaking. Go ahead now and try this activity for yourself.